Okay, so to load a film, you're going to open the camera by pulling this up. Open the back. The film goes in here. Put that down again. Then you pull the film across, and there are some slots in. You can see some slots in the winding spool here, which you put the film into one of these slots and make sure that there are little sprockets here which need to engage with the holes in the film here. So that feeds in there, and the sprockets, it should, once the sprockets have caught, it will pull the film round the spool. So if you fire it and then wind it on again, and you can see that these sprockets here want to be in the holes in the film correctly, and then it'll all work. So fire that again, then you close the back and it snaps shut. First thing to do then is to set the ASA speed of the film. So that's currently on 100. The 100 is next to the little white blob here. There's a number of ways that cameras have of doing this, but so if we turn that to 200, so that's the ASA number is set correctly for the film, for whichever film that you're using. The other thing that should happen, this in this little window here, this is the frame counter. This will reset back to 0 when you open the camera back and close it again, and it should advance when you wind and shoot a couple of times. It should advance. This one is actually broken and it isn't advancing, so that's a problem. It's not the end of the world, because you can either just do without it, or you can get little clickers which you can count how many frames you've used. The later autofocus electric cameras from the 1990s worked slightly differently, in that when you shut the film door, the back of the camera, from the spool it would wind the whole film out onto the take-up spool, and then as you take each photo it would wind it back into the original cassette until when you came to the end of the film, there's just a little tab left here, which is safer, because if the camera came open for some reason, the exposed shots are back in the cassette already, so they wouldn't get spoiled. So when you come to the end of the film, it's usually sort of 24 or 36 exposures, you have to wind it back into the cassette, and to do this there's a little rewind button of some kind. Here it's just here. You press that in, and then while holding that in you pull out the little rewind lever and you wind the film back into the cassette. It takes a little while to take up the slack, and then you can feel it moving. The little button disengages the sprockets to allow the film to wind back in. And if we open, you wouldn't do this with a real film, but if we open the back, you can see that button stays down once you've pushed it in. When you can see after it's taken up the slack, you can see the film winding back. So this is just a test film, so rather than winding it all the way back into the spool, we leave a little tab out like that, and then we can use it again for testing another camera. And then to take the film out, you lift that up, and then that lets you take it out and get it developed. Another thing you can see here with the back open is the light seals. These are little bits of black foam which they're there, and there, and along these grooves here, and also there and there. You can see these have degraded a bit. You'd have to actually shoot a film to see if they're letting light in, but they often, even though they've deteriorated, they often work well enough to be usable. If they are letting light in, you can get kits on eBay or Amazon of little bits of self-adhesive black foam which you can cut and stick into these. If they are letting light into the film, you have to remove these old seals, and you can get a kit from Amazon or eBay of strips of black self-adhesive foam to stick in their place.